Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So in today's head-to-head comparison, let's take a look at the Lexus LC500 Coupe and the BMW M850i Coupe. Now for the Lexus, they start right at $100,000. In today's video, this model is closer to $104,000. For the BMW, they start a bit higher at $106,000, and the model in today's video is closer to $113,000. However, both of them can be similarly spec'd, just depending on the options that you go with. You can also get a convertible option for the LC500 and for the 850i as well. So let's go ahead and get into today's review. Now this is powered by the 5-liter naturally aspirated V8. It's paired to a 10-speed automatic transmission, pumping out 471 horsepower, 398 pound-feet of torque. That power is sent to the rear wheels, propelling this 4,300-pound sports car from 0 to 60 in 4.4 seconds. It has a top speed of 168 miles an hour. It also has a fuel capacity of 21.7 gallons. You'll expect to see around 16 miles per gallon in the city, 24 out on the highway, where this has the 4.4-liter twin-turbo V8 that's paired to the 8-speed automatic transmission, pumping out 523 horsepower, 553 pound-feet of torque. That power is sent through the xDrive all-wheel drive system, propelling this 4,500-pound coupe from 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds with a top speed of 155 miles an hour. It also has a fuel capacity of 18 gallons. You'll expect to see around 17 miles per gallon in the city, 24 out on the highway. As we move on to the exterior styling now for the LC500, you'll notice that this still retains the hourglass design for the grille. A lot of newer Lexus models are going away from that distinction, but for this 500, there's a chrome surround for that entire grille, along with brushed aluminum accents for the entire grille. This has a sensor, which is also the Lexus badge, forward-facing camera, and there's plenty of cutouts to provide additional cooling to that engine. There's also parking sensors up front, and then a really cool design for the lighting. You'll notice the headlights and the high beams are in a very small housing, and then the DRL actually goes off of the bottom and then all the way towards the middle of that grille. So it still retains that iconic crisp point for the DRL, and then there's also turn signals that line vertically with the air inlets on both sides. And then pretty subtle lines coming down the hood. They do go off of the points of the hourglass design all the way to the base of the windshield. It's a fairly long hood, but with the overall design of this vehicle, I think it gives it a great look. As we move on to the exterior styling now for this M850i, as you can tell, this has the kidney design for the grille, finished off in matte black, which is a really nice combo. It has an integrated forward-facing camera, the M badge on that driver's side, and pretty much no restrictions to allow a lot of airflow to that twin turbo engine. Now this model even has the M50 years badge, which you will see located throughout the vehicle, and it even gets a set of adaptive LED headlights with the laser light technology. Very sleek housings for the headlight housings themselves, so it matches nicely with the grille. Now for the lower section, plenty of cutouts provide even more cooling. There's a forward-facing sensor for the adaptive cruise, and you can see the massive inlets located throughout. There's even some black plastic in the very lower section of the bumper, but really nice lines surrounding that lower grille, and then great lines coming down the hood, meeting the top of the grille very nicely. Now this model also has a set of 21-inch wheels with that multi-spoke design. There's the black Lexus brake calipers just behind that. And then for these side mirrors, they have a 3-tone design. There's gloss black, chrome, as well as body colored. Then there's the turn signal and a camera. This also has the gloss black roof, which is nice to see. And then you'll notice all the window trim is blacked out. There's also another functional trim accent just behind the doors. So you'll notice that in the lower side skirt there. And then with the height that I mentioned earlier, it definitely has a low roof line, giving it a very cool look. Now for the side, this gets a set of 20-inch wheels with the 2-tone design. The calipers on this model are finished off in black. There's also a trim piece just behind the front tire. And this has the gloss black side mirrors with the integrated turn signal and a camera. And it even gets the full carbon fiber roof. Now the rest of the window trim is blacked out to match those mirrors. And you can see the lines that come off that trim piece flow very nicely to that back tire. This is the 8 Series, so it has a very nice sloping rear glass to it, just to give it more of an elegant design. Now in back, there's the Lexus badge, backup camera, LC500, also the LED taillights, which have a great look to them, along with some more of the gray trim accents that you noticed up front. There's all the parking sensors, and then in the lower section, we have that quad tip dual exhaust with some more chrome. Reverse lights are right in the middle, along with some gloss black. Now, as we work our way to the cargo space, you can use the button on the key fob or push on this hidden button over on that right side to gain access. Now, when we open up the trunk, being the coupe, you have actually a good bit of space. Underneath the floor, there's a little bit of storage. There's access to your battery, so you can get access to that, of course. And then there's also several tie-down hooks, so you can secure any items. Now, it's not the tallest trunk, but it does provide you with a decent amount of space to make this a daily driver. Back seats do not fold down, so you're limited to that amount of cargo space. And then last up, this has a very, very sleek gloss black trunk mounted spoiler that wraps all the way to almost the end of the taillights there, which are LED, of course. This has a backup camera, all the parking sensors, and then that dual exhaust system. Let's move on to the trunk space now. I can use the button on the key fob or the one up underneath for that power operated trunk. And surprisingly, this has a great amount of space. This would be an excellent daily driver because you can fit a lot of items in the back. There's battery access on one side, a storage net on the other. No storage up underneath the floor, but you can fold down the back seats just by pulling on those tabs on each side. And you will see that provides a lot more interior space, so it makes it that much more practical. You can also close and lock or just close that power trunk. It's a very quick process. Now, as we work our way to the interior, we have the flush door handles, which is cool. So just push that indentation up front. That gives you access to open it up. And now we can take a look at this door panel that has a really cool design to it. So there's leather, there's Alcantara, there's all of the red accents too. We have the memory seating adjustments, your side mirror adjustments. They are power folding. There's all of the window adjustments too, and then a little bit of storage down below. And then we have the power adjusting front seats that are finished off primarily in red with more of the black accents. And now let's take a look at the back seats. Now you can use that button or that lever there to put the backrest forwards, and then from there you do have to push on the control down below to move that seat forwards. Now at 5'10", you're not really buying this for a full four-seater. As you can tell with that seat all the way back, there's no legroom. But you have a nice design for these. This also has the Mark Levinson audio. You have a little bit of black there in the middle, and then this is me at 5'10". So if I had to ride back in here, it might be for, 5 minutes or so. They're there. You can use them for additional storage if needed. You can also get a look at the full Alcantara headliner from this angle too. So they're there if you need them, but not a practical four-seater, obviously. So as we work our way to the interior, of course, you can use the door handle to lock and unlock this. And we have the cognac leather for this model. So you can see all of that leather on the door panel along with all the brushed aluminum. There's the memory seating adjustments, lock and unlock, even the Bowers & Wilkins audio sound system. A little bit of storage, a release for the trunk, solid black leather for that entire lower section, and then all of the brushed aluminum buttons for the window controls and the power folding side mirrors. Now M850i is also an illuminating badge down on the door sill, and we get that solid leather seat, which has a nice design. Power operated, of course. However, there is the manual adjustment for the leg section there if you need a little bit more comfort. Now to gain access to the back seats, I just have to pull that tab, push the backrest forwards. You will see that entire seat move forwards, giving me room at 5'10" to hop into the back. Now you're not buying this to be a full four-seater vehicle. You can see there's a little bit of space on that passenger side with room to move that forwards. So it is a little bit crammed. My head is of course up against the headliner here, so I could ride around town 5-10 minutes, something like that. So you're not using this for a full four-seater, but I could be back here if I needed an extra seat, or you wanted to use this for more interior storage. The back seats also have a 50-50 split, so you can fold one side down if you have one passenger as well. And there is plenty of visibility for your backseat passengers, or visibility in general. This has the full Alcantara headliner. It's even up on the backrest area there too. So it's very nice. If you need to use these, you do have them. Now you do have to step over the door sill there, but it's a low vehicle, so it definitely makes it easy to enter and exit. Now we have the solid and perforated leather steering wheel with some more of those gray trim accents for the controls on both sides. And we have a massive set of steering wheel mounted paddle shifters. But let's fire this up now and take a listen to that NA V8. And then it's a low car, so it's very easy to enter and exit. Now we have solid leather for the steering wheel. It is an M steering wheel, of course. It's also heated, and we have more of the stitching running throughout it. But let's bring this back to life. With my foot on the brake, we can fire this up. And coming back to the gauge cluster now, you'll notice on the left side, there's two temperatures. There's also one on the right side along with your fuel level, and then the tach is right in the middle along with some more information within there that you can scroll through. Now going back to these controls for the steering wheel, you have distance pacing along with your lane keeping assist, cruise control settings, mode, and tuning. On this left side, there's volume, Bluetooth, and voice commands, and then you have the arrows to further go through this information. So if I start scrolling down, you can monitor all of this, even your gear position, just depending on what you'd like to see. There's your G-force meter, even a blank page. And then you can also move that entire tach to the right. So now we can go over some of the information that I just showed. However, it is going to show you some additional vitals that you can scroll through, including your compass. You can look at your music. You have your cruise control, any messages. And then you also have some standard safety features that you can go in and monitor. So you can turn all of these on and off just depending on how you would like them to react. And then when you're done, you can put that tach back front and center. Now this also has a head-up display. Might be a little bit hard to see, but right now it's showing miles per hour, tach, there's the compass, and that is it. You have adjustments for that over on this left side. So you can push on that to turn it on and off. You have a trunk release, fuel cap release. There's some dimmer switches for the gauges. One air vent is tucked away over on that left side. And then there's also a stalk on both sides of the gauge cluster. So on this left side, this is how you can go into snow mode by twisting that down. And then by pushing on it, you have traction control. For the stalk on the right side, twisting it down will go into comfort. You twist it up for Sport S, once more for Sport S Plus, and then push on the end of that stalk to go back into normal. So you'll notice the gauge cluster changed slightly for that tach there, which is nice. And then as we move on to the giant infotainment system, it's very nicely integrated into the dash. So that dash actually has about the same height to it, giving this a really nice look. Now you'll notice we have the navigation when you have that ready to go. There's also your music, you have your phone. You do have some vehicle information that you can get into for your climate, as well as your heated and ventilated seats and your heated steering wheel. You have some other trip information, and then you have all this general information just depending on how you would like to set it up. So it's pretty simple, but it gives you what you need to drive this on a daily basis. Now there's only one air vent in the middle. Your passenger gets two over there, which is nice. And then we have all of your climates for the physical controls laid out very nicely. So we have fan speed along with your temperature. There's also auto, you have your defrosters too. It's laid out very nicely, so it's very easy to use those brushed aluminum controls. You'll notice there's a little bit of storage underneath where you have one cup holder that you can utilize. And then we also have a shortcut to that 360 camera system. So push on view once, and this is the diagram that will be shown. This isn't new from Lexus. This is in a lot of Lexus models. And then you push on that, you will be able to shut it off. Now behind that, there's tuning along with power and volume, seek and track, laid out very nicely there. And then you do have a shortcut to those controls that I mentioned earlier. So that's nice to see. Let's put this into reverse now. So you'll push it to the left and up, it'll go back into that position there. But now we have the backup camera. You have a few different guidelines that you can adjust and angles there. And then we can put it into drive. And in order to view the forward-facing camera, have it in drive, push on view, and now you can have that pop up. You can also turn on the automatic setting, so when you come to a slower speed, that will automatically pop up. Now, once you're in drive, push it straight back for the manual setting, so you can shift using these paddle shifters, and then park is going to be by pushing on that control right there. Auto hold is just behind that. You'll notice all the red leather too, giving it a great look. If we push on this button right here, this is how you can actually slide open the armrest. And then you can also open it towards your passenger there, of course, where you have a little bit of storage along with some auxiliaries. So it's nice that you can hide those away, just depending on the comfort and the access that you need. You also have this area where you can rest your palm and use these controls. On your passenger side, you actually have two grab handles. So if you're doing some spirited driving, they have somewhere to hang on to. And then we have the control for the glove box. So that will open up, giving you an additional space. And then we have garage door buttons on the rear view mirror. We have dome lights up top. This model also has a sunroof. So we have the manual adjustment for the sunshade. However, the roof is actually fixed. So we do have the full, or the moonroof there, that you can open and close as needed. And as far as visibility goes, it's actually pretty easy to see. You have large windows there with some smaller pillars. So even over this left side, you can gain access to that window right there, see that car passing. And on this digital gauge cluster, you'll see the fuel level and miles per hour on that left side. Right side is the tach and the engine temperature. The map is also front and center, which is fixed, and it's nice to see. So that way you have those graphics to look at. And then within that tach, you can actually go through a lot more info using the button on the top of the turn signal stalk. So currently it's showing the odometer along with some data information. You can also pull up live readouts for horsepower and torque. So if I give the vehicle some gas, you can see those adjust. You can also pull up the G-force meter, monitor your audio, even look at what gear the vehicle is in, along with the driving mode. So currently this is in comfort. And then there's a live readout for your MPG. So it's nice to have that. Now just above M850i is the sensor for your face. So that's a part of the adaptive cruise, just to monitor if you are still paying attention. Now on this left side, that is how you can activate the adaptive cruise along with the steering assist. Volume and tuning for the radio are on the right side, along with Bluetooth and voice commands. And this even gets steering wheel mounted paddle shifters finished off in the brushed aluminum. Now on this left side, there's all the headlight and parking light adjustments, along with dimmer switches for the gauges. This does have a head-up display. It'll be a little bit hard to see, but it has the miles per hour and the speed limit sign. And then the entire dash is covered in more leather and stitching. Now for the infotainment system, you can see the home screen here with the navigation, music, and phone. There's also data information. You have the compass too. And then you have a few blanks here where you can add more information depending on what you view the most. Now on this left side, these are all presets, so you can quickly get into all this information. And under car, there's a lot more to go through where I will use this rotary dial. There's also shortcuts just in front of that, so you can quickly get to that info. So right now, if I go up to driving information, you can go into the sport displays to monitor all of this while you're having some fun driving this car. We can go back to vehicle status so you can see all of these vitals if needed. And then under settings, you have a lot to go through just depending on what you'd like to configure and how it best suits you. You have the driving modes, general information, even all of the lighting as well. There's driver profiles, owner's manual. If we go back to apps, this does have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto and some other apps that you can install as needed. It's a very easy system to go through. You can even monitor the intelligent safety on the screen as well. So there's a shortcut for that. So you can go through all this and configure it what works best for you. Now underneath that button, there's another LCD screen for the climate adjustments. So we have the fan speed and the temperature where you'd like the air to go. A few other controls on each side of those. And this even gets a set of heated and ventilated seats for your front seat passengers. So you have one button to control each of those depending on what you'd like to do. Very nice to see that integration. And then below that, we have power and volume for the radio, all of the presets and tuning, and we have carbon fiber for this cover. If I open this up, this has the wireless charging pad. There are two cup holders, a 12 volt and a USB. And then to the left of all of those controls with the shifter, I'll simply push the release, push it forwards, and you will see the 360 camera up here where we have the top-down view with the specific pinpoints, or you can go to the 360 view. We have the gesture control that you can go around the entire vehicle, or you can push on these shortcuts here and get all the visibility that you need, including another top-down view. So that way you can see that with the guidelines turning too with the wheel. It gives you a lot of visibility. Now in order to see the front-facing camera, I'll just push on this shortcut button on the left side there. You have a full screen. This even has an activation point, so it will pop up in certain areas if you choose to set it that way. Now if I go back into drive, I can pop it over into the manual setting. That allows you to use the paddle shifters, and then park is located on the back. Now also on this left side, there's traction control along with the parking sensors, the engine start-stop feature, and a few different driving modes depending on how you would like to drive this. So there's sport mode with a few different settings. There's also comfort, and then a few for Eco Pro. There's even an adaptive setting. There's the auto hold and the electronic parking brake. More carbon fiber, of course, surrounding all of those. And then for the center armrest, we have that split design with a good amount of space and some auxiliaries so you can charge more electronics. And then the glove box has an ample amount of room for all of that information. We'll take another look at this interior. And up top, we have the dome lights. There's also a call button on the backside, even more Alcantara for the sun visors, which is great to see. And from second gear, here we go. Definitely quick. That was a very mild acceleration. Not too special for the interior, just with the layout. It's borrowed obviously from other Lexus models, so they didn't do anything too special. The paddle shifters are unique. I haven't seen that in any other Lexus model before. But from the outside, obviously you can tell this is something special with its exterior design. So it really is unique, has a great look to it. And with that look, it also has a great drive to it as well. So if you're looking for a sports car, you want something that is going to be reliable with that NA V8, that is something that, I mean, these cars might appreciate over time just simply because of the engine. Since a lot of brands are going away from naturally aspirated, they're going towards turbos or hybrids. I'm not sure if this is the last year for the NA in this Lexus. Wow, that sounds so good. So this might be it for the NA for the LC500, but it's definitely something that's sought after and is going to be reliable. So you know that you're getting a very fun, luxury-focused sports car that has the Toyota Lexus reliability behind it. So you don't have to think twice about, is this going to last? You can own this for a very long time and have some fun with it. I would say this is also geared towards more of a grand touring type of sports car. This is something you can rack the miles up on, go on long trips. I don't see any issues with just driving it every day. It's definitely an everyday type of sports car, which is awesome to see. And then it's also going to handle so well. There's zero body roll around a turn like that going at normal speeds here. And with another acceleration, it is such a fun car. If this is your only car, this is the only car that you want, or you know you don't need more than one vehicle, it's very practical in the sense of putting in a lot of items, putting in other people. You don't just have to have one other person with you to go somewhere. So if you need that extra practicality, you use the seats very rarely in the back, it's a good option to go with. I can definitely see for the money and everything that you were getting with all the tech, all of the interior materials, and the sound of this exhaust. It is so good to hear. Few pops there.
And coming back to our final thoughts now between the LC500 and the M850. Personally, I think I would go with the LC500. We don't have as much horsepower and torque in that model, but something about that NA V8 is just, it gives you a really different feel and a different driving characteristic than the twin turbo V8. Both of these cars are going to be fun regardless, but there's just something special about that NA V8 in a world where a lot of vehicles are going towards the twin turbo and other hybrid models, things like that. It is worth noting that you can get the LC500 with the hybrid system too, so they do offer that as well. But with both models in today's video, they're going to be very luxury focused coupes. You just have a much different feel overall. I feel like the BMW is going to be a little bit more luxurious, especially since we have the NA V8 and the Lexus. It's a luxury focused vehicle, but it gives you a little bit more of those driving characteristics. You're still going to have much more performance, of course, in the BMW, a little bit toned down though versus the Lexus. You have a lot more driving modes too, and a little bit more tech features in the BMW. So it really just depends on which model you like. Personally, as much as I'm a BMW fan, I love the performance characteristics from BMW sports cars. The LC500, I think I would take over the M850i. Let me know your thoughts down below. Would you rather have that NA V8 or a twin turbo V8? If you enjoyed today's video, give it a huge thumbs up. Consider smashing that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with our daily uploads. I will see you all in the next video.